Alright, I'm about to go to bed here, but before I do, I gotta give you a really important message. Trans women are amazing, beautiful, and hot. But why do I think this? Why do I like them? Well, the simple answer is that I like women in general, that being women of all types. I don't care if they're white, black, Asian, if they're tall, if they're short, if they've got big tits, medium or small, if they have flat asses or big asses. I don't particularly care either way. I just find the female form to be a beautiful and magnificent thing. And I think with trans women what you've got is a kind of interesting situation, right? Because what you have are a group of people who were not born as women per se. They may have always sort of felt that they were women, or that was an identity that uh, fit them, but as far as their biological sex is concerned, and as far as how they were socialized, they were not, you know, born into the same gender role as biological women are. And I think this creates a situation where, as a result of having to practice femininity and to abide by the gender standards set for women, in many cases, what you actually find are trans women being more feminine or more overtly feminine, uh, more exaggerated female traits and the like. And obviously, for someone who is attracted to women, that's going to be appealing in and of itself. But I think, moreover, there's a deeper dynamic at play here, which I find to be completely and utterly fascinating. For those of you who have watched Star Trek, there is a character called Data in that show. Now, Data is not a human, but he's also not a robot. He's an android. I'm not going to ask the question whether or not he believes in electric sheep in this video, but for those of you who are in the know, you'll know what I'm talking about by bringing up that seemingly meaningless non sequitur. But anyway, um, Data is an android, and part of what makes him an android is the fact that he has the feelings of a human, he has the consciousness of a human, but because he is a robot, he also has to learn to be human. In essence, he understands what it is like to be both. And so he has a unique perspective on his identity and on his existence and on the identity and existence of everyone else. So trans women have had the experience of being raised as or socialized as boys and then men, but they also have the opposite experience in that they have had to overcome the societal pressures around them to become women. And I think this gives them a very unique perspective, because at the same time that they might understand to an extent what it's like to be me, they also understand what it's like to be the other gender. And so I think it creates a lot of unique moments of empathy or bonding that they're capable of. I also think that it can make for some interesting conversations, right? A big part of a relationship, or even just something that makes someone sexually attractive in the first place, is their brain. It's how well they can speak, and the kind of conversations that you're able to have, how enjoyable it is to spend time with them, how friendly they are. All of these things are going to be influenced by the compatibility that you two ultimately have, and that is going to be influenced by empathy, relatability, these sorts of things, which I think many trans people in general have in spades. I mean, how could you not have those things when you have to undergo the very difficult process of self-discovery. If you don't necessarily know what's going on in your body and your mind, and you're trying to pick it apart and figure it out, that's going to require a lot of self-reflection, a lot of introspection. And typically, if you understand yourself pretty well, again, this is not in all cases, but generally, if you understand yourself pretty well, you're going to understand others pretty well too. Because, the human beings develop our identity in recognition of others, right? And I mean recognition in the Hegelian sense, right? Like we see other people, and even if we're not directly recognizing ourselves in them, we're recognizing ourselves insofar as we see ourselves as the opposite of them, right? And so, understanding the self is an inherently social phenomenon, and in order to do that, you're gonna have to have some perspective on other people. And I think, while it isn't true in all cases, in order to be trans in the first place, you're going to have to do a lot of analysis. If you've ever wondered why there are so many video analysts, essayists, and vloggers of the deep introspective kind on YouTube who happen to be trans, that is why. They spend a lot of time with themselves, figuring themselves out, which makes them completely and utterly fascinating to talk to, and makes someone like me, someone who's more person-oriented or interested in the personality, more likely to fall in love with them, as I have in various cases, some of which have been documented even on this channel. But another component to this that I think would be well, actually, let's not get to that stuff just yet. Let's save that stuff for the end of the video, okay? But as far as we're talking about personalities and interests and these sorts of things, another certain and apparent draw that I feel, when speaking with these people, has got to be how online they are. In many cases, you have trans people who spend a lot of time, I'm not talking just on social media or some dumb shit like that, but like on fucking Wiki Scholar or whatever, they're on Wiki Tongues, on fucking ResearchGate, really trying to understand Marxist.org. The G board on 4chan, the technology board, they're trying to understand as much information as possible related to whatever their interests are, and having being able to go through information with like a fine-tooth comb, and being very enmeshed and immersed in the meta of the internet and its memes and talking points. I think this makes them very interesting to talk to for someone like me, someone who, likes to use the internet to learn things. The fact that a lot of these people are very learned themselves and have obscure interests that require a lot of thought is super appealing for me, right? Like, I like to learn about fucking, I don't know, what's a really trans-coded thing to learn about? The history of the Aztecs, let's go with that, right? I want to hear about that. Like, if you have some fucking autistic shit, I want to hear about that. I don't even have to be into it. Like, it could be something that I would literally never learn about or care about, but just because you are passionate about it, I will like to hear about it. And so, there's various girlfriends or just friends that I have had who come from, let's just say, this category of person that I have listened to, and I'm not going to say spoke to or spoke with in this context, like literally just me like sitting there like asking some questions, listening to some shit, that I've listened to really extensively, just autism dump, like info dump about these subjects, and it's brilliant. It's wonderful. I love it. I love the passion, because out of any trait that is to be attractive, like if you were to tell me, okay, just name one, it's got to be passion. Passion has got to be number one. If you are passionate about something, then you are going to be an appealing person to talk to. Number one, because it's relatable for me, but number two, because I love to see it. Passion is in short supply in the world. I think oftentimes, I think a lot of people are afraid to be passionate, and it's a hallmark of confidence to not just be passionate, but to wear it on your sleeve and really say it with your chest, speak your passions. That's a beautiful fucking thing. And I think a lot of trans people, a lot of trans women are able to be that, fiery kind of dragon person. And I love it. It's beautiful. But what's even more beautiful about it is the feminine way with which they are often able to express these things, which creates this kind of beautiful, brilliant form of expression. And in some ways, it calls back to that android analogy that I gave earlier. Not a whole lot in this instance, but somewhat related. But I want to get into the spicier aspects of this video. The things that you'd probably be thinking about clicking on a video with a title like this is got to be now. And I know I'm generalizing here. It's not going to be the case. It's not going to be the case with every single person who happens to be a trans woman. Some trans women are really like, I don't know, what would you even say, like prudish, or just not super into the sexuality stuff, which is okay. Not everybody has to be. I don't think I would be very compatible with someone like that, but I think it's a very appealing trait that I often see from this group of people is horniness. It's fucking the willingness to go in all kinds of directions in the bedroom and be open about it, to do it a lot. I'm a horny guy. I need to have a lot of sex, and oftentimes they are ready and willing in that respect. And so that's got to be a huge aspect trans people's appeal. But again, it's not, obviously with any group of people there are a lot of individuals, and these medications that they take can often suppress libido, or some people just naturally aren't that interested in sex. But like, let's be real here. If you've been in these sorts of communities and been in relationships with a lot of trans people, been friends with a lot of trans people, being horny on main is going to be pretty common. Being horny in general, really often, is going to be pretty common. It's like, I feel like trans women exist on these two extremes. Either they're like totally asexual, or they're like super horny and like want to express that side of themselves as much as possible. I like it. I like it when they've got a little bit more of the latter going on, for obvious reasons. And it's a thing which has strengthened their appeal in my mind. I also like, the kind of defined asses and beautiful kind of feminine hair that estrogen is able to create. The skin as well being very soft and kind of giving them this sense of like permanent youth almost, even though it's not permanent, for anybody. But I think they tend to have like a very, how would you even say this? Just like soft appearance, right? And I'm someone who generally prefers women to be older than him, sometimes by a fair margin, 10, 15 years older than me. I'll prefer that. But, you can actually have that in a trans woman, and they will look, maybe 10 years younger than they should. It's this interesting thing that I've observed. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything else um, that I haven't covered here. Yeah, lots of compassion, lots of understanding, relatability for me as a citizen of the internet, right? Um, you know, the sexiness, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. There's, see, it's funny when you've had a lot of relationships. It can be difficult to like name all of the things that you might like about a specific group of people that you've had a lot of relationships with. But those are some of the like, those are some of the cliff notes, right? Those are some of the main points that I have noticed in my, let's just say, travels. In some cases, literal travels, as in me traveling to a place to go have sex or hang out with a person from this disparate group that I'm attempting to describe in this video. Man, isn't life amazing? Isn't life incredible with the amount of things that it has in store, the amount of people that you can meet? I want to leave you with that, but also I want to say, before I go to bed, because I am a bit sleepy tonight, however, I'm not going DEFCON 3 on anyone, trans women are beautiful and amazing and wonderful. Not all of them. Some of them are pretty bad and annoying, but that's true of all people. But I'm very thankful of the fact that most of my friends are very esoteric and interesting transgender women, and I'm very thankful of someone else that I know. But moreover, I want you to take from this video, if you are transgender, the idea that you have value, that you're beautiful, and that there is someone out there who will appreciate you with the utmost care and respect, the same way that anybody should be. Everybody deserves love. Everybody deserves kindness. Everybody deserves to be appreciated for what makes them a unique individual, a beautiful, I was gonna say snowflake, but that is incredibly, we're not in 2015 here, so I'm gonna say unique work of art that distinguishes them from all the other people. I think whatever makes you you should be appreciated and loved on that basis. And I genuinely believe that there is someone out there to do that for every person. You may not find them per se. If you search long enough, you will. But there is someone out there who can love you with that kind of kindness. It's just a matter of going through the process of trying and failing, but you will find them. Love finds a way. And it's in my view that there's a lot to love about transgender women.